Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Black Panther movie Okoye Build-A-Figure Wave Iron Man figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
6 figures in a wave in total. You only need 5 figures to complete the Build-A-Figure. There is no Build-A-Figure part with Iron Man. As far as the 8 count case goes, you get 2 Black Panthers and 2 Killmongers per 8. All right, looking at Iron Man, the Invincible Iron Man out of the package, and I must say off the bat, this is a very nice figure. This is probably by far the best Marvel Legends Iron Man that we have ever received. Shout out to everybody that follows me on Instagram. It was overwhelming that people wanted to see the Iron Man review first, so that's what we knocking out here first. But again, I don't think we have ever received a definitive Iron Man from Marvel Legends. There's always some issue with the figures, especially as far as the size goes, the proportions, the ability to put the arms to the side, and this and that, and no unmasked Tony head. And I think that they really nailed it with this figure here. So shout out to Tony, the other Tony from Marvel Legends, if he sculpted this figure or whoever sculpted this figure, because it is a very nice figure. And I'm telling you now, before we even get to the end of the review, this is one that you definitely want to pick up. All right, let's look at his accessories. So out the package, he actually comes with 1 fisted hand and 1 open palm for his like repulsor blast, but I switched them out and I'm just showing you both fists. I do have a few little minor gripes with this figure, and the other set of interchangeable hands is part of that small list of gripes. So let's look at those. So while I do appreciate that we do get a interchangeable set of hands here and an open set, and you can use these for flying or for blasting or for whatever the case may be, these hands do not have a hinge on them. So you can't actually hinge the hands in any way, hinge them down or up. You pretty much gotta spin them if you want them to be in a different position, but that's you know, that's disappointing. I wish they would have actually put a hinge on these so you can articulate them you know, more. The fists do have the hinge. They do retain the normal Marvel Legends articulation, but these do not. So that was a screw up on their part. They definitely should have, you know, went the distance as far as that goes. So obviously you can see that both hands have holes in them, so you can plug in a couple of repulsor blasts, which is another accessory of his. I'll show that real quick. So you do get these 2 bluish repulsor blasts. So that was a nice touch that they threw these in. I'm sure other accessories, similar accessories from other Iron Men that we've received will probably work. They are a little warped, they are a little bent. You might have to do a hot water, cold water trick, but again, I do appreciate that they were included. They are a little warped, they are a little bent. You might have to do a hot water, cold water trick, but again, I do appreciate that they were included. I just wish the hands had a hinge. And then you also get this sort of arm attachment, this cannon here, which I don't really care about. This is mostly trash to me, but you know, it is an extra accessory. It does match up with the deco. It looks okay. I mean, I guess you could kind of finesse it in some way. I don't know that his armor, this particular armor, works like that where cannons come out in the comics. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but this obviously has a little peg hole in it too, so you could plug in the repulsor blast there too. So that's cool. Again, it's an added accessory. I'm not going to completely turn my nose up at any extras, but I don't think I'll be using that too much in anything. And his final accessory is the unmasked Tony Stark head, and this looks pretty good. I saw some pictures that to me looked a little off. Maybe the head was a little large, but I think it works okay. I think the proportions are okay. Personally, I like to see the helmet obviously look bigger than the head, and you don't really see that here. You don't see that oftentimes, but it works here. It looks okay. I know a lot of people want to see how the head looks on the suited body and all of that good stuff, so I'll get into that shortly. But yeah, it looks good. I like the skin tone. It looks modern. It looks like Tony straight out of the comic books as far as how he's been drawn in All New Avengers and more recently or in modern times. And I think they did a pretty nice job on this head sculpt. And just taking a closer look at the deco, I really do like this armor a lot. I think this is probably one of my favorite sort of modern armors. I wish they could have actually put this type of attention to detail and time and some of the other armors that I really liked from the past, like the maybe the modular armor or the extremist armor or something like that. But this looks very, very good. I really don't have too many gripes. I mean, I guess some of these sort of glowing parts maybe could have been painted a little better, but I mean, it's clean. It's not really any paint imperfections, or I don't really have too many gripes as far as the look of this figure, man. I do like it a lot. So getting into the articulation, I think this figure shines in the articulation department. I think they did a good job of making them look clean and streamlined, and but still giving you a good range of motion and making it where you can get them into some nice dynamic poses and get some nice A.C.B.A going with this guy. As you saw, the head is on a ball joint. The head will look down just about that far. It'll look up pretty far too, which I think is always important for any character that's going to be flying. You know, you want them to be able to look forward when you have them in a flying pose. And although those the open hands that I showed don't hinge, you know, it is still good when you get them in a flying pose to have those kind of back behind them. I guess I'll show that again in a moment, but that's cool. Shoulders are on a ball joint. They're going to come up pretty far. They're not really hindered at all. You could actually get them to do a full 360. You get an upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow. Like I said, you get a swivel and a hinge on the wrist, only with the fist though, not with the open palms. This is one of my other minor gripes, is that the ab crunch doesn't go as far forward as I would like. I would have liked to see a deeper ab crunch moving forward, but considering that a lot of Iron Man of the past really didn't have this, then, you know, it's still a step in the right direction. Now going back, you do get 2 clicks, and again, that will lend to you getting them in a nice flying pose, so that's cool. You get a T-joint here at the pelvis. Doesn't look like the legs are hindered in any way. You can get them up pretty far, and you can get them out just about that far. Upper thigh swivel, which is very tight, but the articulation is there. You get a double jointed knee. You get a nice deep ankle pivot and a hinge on the foot. So nice range of motion. One thing I forgot to mention too was that the arms here can actually kind of come in pretty far forward. Almost like you have a butterfly joint here on the shoulder. So that was a nice touch too. I'm not sure what they did. It's not really like a full butterfly joint, but the arms will come in pretty far. And again, that makes it where you could actually get his arms to the side. So when you have him in a vanilla stance, he looks very good. All right, a couple quick size comparisons so you can see how awful the Iron Mans of the past have been and how they've been all over the place. Oh man, look at that. Look at this guy on the left. He's barely standing. I guess that was the modern Iron Man. And I really like this armor from the comics. I'd like to see Hasbro revisit a lot of these Iron Man armors, but I have a box full of Iron Man armors from Marvel Legends, and they're all mostly trash. So they really stepped it up with this one. Again, you can see how all over the place the sizes are. And a couple of more movie armor on the right. He just looks really small. You know, that was always a gripe, even when that figure first came out. I guess that's the Mark 7 on the right. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not even sure. And I don't even know what you call this armor on the left. I forget. I don't care. But look at that. The legs don't even go all the way in. I think that was actually unique to my figure, because I've seen some people with this figure where the legs can actually go in, but the arms don't really rest completely at the side. And I did like this armor in the comics too. And this one on the left is not terrible, but again, you can see how much sleeker and how much better this new Invincible Iron Man looks. And just a couple of more. This armor on the left, again, I'm drawing a blank on all the names of these armors, but this armor on the left is the one that they recently re-released in the vintage wave, where they just changed up the deco just a little bit, but it's still pretty much the same. And as you can see, it's a small armor. It still looks small. And on the right, I think this House of M Iron Man armor still holds up as a pretty nice looking armor. This is kind of a slept on figure, and that armor is just about the same height as this new Invincible Iron Man armor, but some of the proportions and the articulation on that figure on the far right was a little weird. And there he is next to Black Panther from the same wave, which will be the next review coming up right behind this one. And then you can see him next to the chameleon suited body on the left. And I have the unmasked Tony Stark head just sitting on there. The head won't actually pop onto the peg, but you can kind of finagle it and it looks good. And with the suited body right next to the Iron Man armor, you can see how it could look like there is actually a man in a suit of armor there. And that was one of my major problems with some of the armors of the past, was it didn't look like it was a man in a suit. It looked way too small. You know, like I said, looks like it's just a suit of armor on a guy. So very nice. The unmasked head will fit on the Coulson body. It will actually pop on the peg, but you lose some of the neck and he looks a little funny. Actually, it looks a little better if you just sit it on the Coulson body too. So it's just kind of sitting on there, and it looks good. Skin tones don't absolutely match up, but it looks decent. I do like the way that looks. And if you wanted to get the head on some of the previous armors, you could. I don't see why you would really care to. Again, I think most of these are just trash, to be honest, but that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, and that works too for a nice Playboy Tony. This is the Bruce Banner body. Again, the skin tones don't absolutely match up, but I think the head looks pretty good on that body. And just like that, we got a team completed. A pretty modern team. This is everybody in their correct costumes directly from the comic books. And that, I guess that makes two for Hasbro. Two complete teams in 15 years. We got the Wrecking Crew and we got the all-new All Avengers. Now, I guess we probably have a couple of more teams, Iron Fist and Luke Cage and like some smaller things, but I like to see them really take 2018 and complete some things. Looks like they're going in the right direction for the 90s X-Men and some of the 90s teams, but this one is in the books, and I think they did a great job here. Everything looks really good as far as this whole team together, and again, I like to see them explore that more and do that more. Iron Man came out great, although there is no Build-A-Figure part with this guy. It is still one that I would highly recommend that you pick up. I think this is gonna he's gonna fly off the shelves, man. This is a great figure. So as always, rate, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, peace.
That's crispy.